Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here and welcome back to another Destiny video. And in this video, I want to speak to you guys about Destiny 2. Yes, I appreciate Rise of Iron has only just come out and Destiny 2 is not for a very, very long time. In fact, we don't even have a release date for Destiny 2, so obviously it's far in the future. However, a post just went up on Kotaku that contains some rumours surrounding Destiny 2 with regards to, some of the stuff that we may see in game, as well as the fact that it may also be on PC. So I thought I'd put together a video to discuss this with you guys, talk about the points, and kind of share some of the most important information. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know your thoughts. Of course, do bear in mind, this is a rumour video, so please take everything, and I mean everything, with a massive pinch of salt. Because until anything gets confirmed by Bungie or Activision, then obviously we don't know it to be true. However, the reason I'm doing this video is because Kotaku are normally pretty spot on with their rumours, going all the way back to before Destiny came out, going into Vanilla Destiny, all the expansions, Taken King, Rise of Iron. Anytime they put up a rumour post, typically that information ends up being true. So when a post like this comes up, invariably I actually listen. Again, I'm still always skeptical, don't necessarily take it to be gospel, but their track record is pretty strong. So with that being said, I'm going to run through some of the key points in the article. I will of course link the full article in the description box down below if you guys want to read it, but let's start at the top. So first things first, Destiny 2, currently unannounced, supposedly going to be dropping in 2017, so of course next year, and it's said to be coming to PC as well as consoles, and this supposedly comes from several sources. It's also said that Bungie aims to make Destiny 2 feel like an entirely new game rather than a Taken King style expansion, even if that means leaving old characters behind. And that last bit about leaving characters behind, we'll speak more about that in a second. So the PC rumour first popped up on NeoGAF today. There's a NeoGAF user who supposedly has a friend at Activision. I appreciate this is how these always go, it's like, I have a friend, but let's just go with it for the time being. So supposedly there was an internal meeting presentation, and during this they spoke about, their plans for Destiny, the plans for Destiny 2. Also, interesting bit of information, an Activision-owned studio, Vicarious Visions, is supposed to be working on Destiny 2 alongside Bungie, so that obviously hasn't been made public knowledge, but that is something that they were supposedly told internally. So of course they're going to be, bringing in more studios just means they're ramping up for a much bigger project. We of course know in the past they've worked with like High Moon Studios, so it's not exactly the first time that they're working with additional studios on this title. In fact, that's a very common thing in game development. Now, over the past few months, they've also heard that Bungie's leadership wants Destiny 2 to feel like a proper sequel. Again, even if that means leaving old planets, characters, and activities behind. They said that some of the conversations with people at Bungie made comparisons to Blizzard's Diablo 2 in the way that it iterated on the first game in some incredible ways, but ultimately nothing carried over. Your characters were gone, you had to start from scratch, and that is kind of what they're trying to echo, or at least signs seem to point towards the fact that the developer, i.e. Bungie, is trying to start from scratch with Destiny 2. The article actually has a quote, which is, Destiny 2 is a completely different game, supposedly. They say that the Taken King was a reboot for Destiny 1 to fix small things. This is the overhaul to fix big things. So bear in mind, that is not something to be scared of. I appreciate some of you guys might be thinking, well, hold on a minute, I've invested hundreds, if not thousands of hours into my character. The thought of me losing my character, like, what is this craziness? Like, I appreciate that side of it, but if you think of it in a different respect, I mean, for example, Guild Wars had a really, really good system. I played a ton of Guild Wars 1, and then when Guild Wars 2 came out, it was a completely new game. All my characters were left behind, all my progress was left behind, but they did have this really cool system where there's basically in Guild Wars 2, kind of like a museum or a sanctuary or a shrine, so to speak, where you can go there and it basically shows sort of the progress that you made in the original game. So I suppose in that respect it would be like the Iron Temple, right? It would be like statues of your former self. So I don't know how it would work narratively speaking, but I personally would be happy to start fresh if it means that I have a completely new world to explore, completely new experience, and just, perhaps have things come over that, whether they're things you bought from Eververse or some of the cosmetic things or things that, are important to you, like emblems and stuff. That could be kind of cool, but generally speaking, starting again is not necessarily a bad thing. But again, all of this right now is just rumour. Now moving on to some of the sort of like game things, so to speak. One of the terms they said that they will be using quite often in Destiny 2, according to sources, is quote-unquote play-in destinations, which is supposedly a new activity model that will revamp how Destiny's world functions. The plan is to make it so that Destiny 2's planets feel more populated with towns, outposts, and quests that are more interesting than just patrol missions. So that could be really cool. I mean, just imagine walking around Earth or Venus or Saturn or Europa and you just come to like a small village or like a small town where there may be some vendors. You can go there and stock up on supplies. You can go and sell things, maybe to code your engrams, and then move on to like bigger cities. I mean, that's a typical RPG feel. I mean, if any of you guys have ever played Guild Wars, World of Warcraft, basically any RPG. In fact, it doesn't even have to be an MMO. It could be like a Final Fantasy or even like a Zelda. Games where you have these massive open worlds and you have these small villages, you visit them, they've got like, you know, a few things going on, sometimes some side quests, and then you go to much bigger villages, but all of that happens in this big open world, so hopefully that would mean they try and kind of remove the sort of floating in orbit, disjointed system the game has, and then turn the world into a much more living, breathing place. Then the article jumps back quickly to mention, again, the kind of notion of losing characters. They did say that assuming Destiny 2 doesn't let players carry over their characters, Bungie will of course offer something to players who have poured hundreds of hours in. So again, probably some sort of system that either lets you bring some stuff over, maybe you can bring your gear or some kind of gear, leave a character behind, or maybe again like a legacy sort of thing. I don't know what the plan is, because at this stage nobody knows anything whatsoever, but I'm just quoting from the post. Final couple of things. In April, according to several sources, Bungie had a massive staff reorganisation, so during this process, the Taken King directors, Luke Smith, and the exec producer, Mark Noseworthy, became director and producer on Destiny 2. Plus, it's also worth mentioning that the bulk of Bungie's 750 plus employees are said to be working on Destiny 2, whereas like a small group of people were working on Rise of Iron and of course still working on the live content. The rest of the team are hard at work on Destiny 2. So, that is pretty much it from the post. As mentioned, take all of this with a massive, massive pinch of salt. None of this is fact. None of this is set in stone to be happening. So all this stuff about losing your character, losing your progress, it's all just rumour right now. But it's still exciting because kind of when you start hearing rumours about, you know, the next iteration, of course, you know, we know full well that they're working hard on it. Even if Bungie haven't necessarily acknowledged the fact, we do know that, you know, they're working on it and that is going to be the next big thing. So that's super exciting. I, for one, would be excited to see it go to PC because that's a whole new audience, right? I mean, you know, I play predominantly on Xbox. I know loads of people play on PS4, and opening up to the PC audience, it would bring in a massively new audience, and plus putting things on PC potentially opens up the idea for things like, you know, mods or other kind of custom game modes and things like that. So, you know, we have private matches right now, but they're quite limited. Imagine that in Destiny 2, when you have PC in the mix and things like that. That could be really cool. And as mentioned, I, for one, I'm kind of excited about this concept if it actually ends up being true, of this whole, you know, leave your character behind, start again. Because imagine if the way that Destiny works, you know, all these kind of heroes and legacies and the Grimoire and whatnot, what if everything you've done up until now suddenly goes into, say, like, Wave 2 Grimoire, and then for your new character, it's like your old character is just sort of tales told in history. I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling for now, so let's end it there. But for the time being, let me know your thoughts down below, even if it's all just rumour. What do you think of it? What are your thoughts? What would you like to see in Destiny 2? All that good stuff. For the time being, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.